If I was involved in this case as the ad litem for this child, I wouldn't have spent as long as I've spent with you here today before I told you you needed to just leave and come back when you're serious about getting back in this child's life. Because when you tell me absolutely I'm ready, then that tells me that you're not being realistic. And you know, there are basically 10 things that I always looked at when I was determining whether someone was fit. And number one was whether they could provide a safe, stable, and secure environment for the child. I actually think that can happen in a homeless shelter. I think you don't have to be in a mansion. I think that I would rather a parent be under a bridge in a box and give a child too much love and not enough money rather than the other way around. So I don't think that being in a homeless shelter disqualifies a parent from being a good parent. I don't think it's a long-term solution, but you have to be able to maintain a loving, stable, consistent, nurturing relationship with the child. You have to attend to the daily needs of the child, feeding, clothing, and physical care. You have to attend to adequate education for the child, provide financial support for the child, the ability to identify and prioritize the child's needs ahead of their own. And I look at these things, and history does not predict that that would be the case, which means that you need to take steps to demonstrate. You need to create a new history. A new history. And by the way, she doesn't have the right to turn this child back over to you, because once you enter the system, you couldn't give that child back right now if you wanted to. If you did, you would be in violation of the law, you would be guilty of negligence, and you could be prosecutable for abandonment of that child. So you don't have the right to do that one way or the other. So you need to understand that very clearly. So you can bark at her till the cows come home. She doesn't have the right to turn that child over to you, or she would be guilty of abandonment. You have to empathize and meet the child's needs. You have to regulate impulses and emotions. Well, I just saw how that worked out. You have to assist the child developing and maintaining appropriate relationships and exercise appropriate judgment regarding the child's welfare. And when you get ready to do that, you let me know, and I will get you professional help that will guide you in doing that, someone that will guide you toward family unification. I'd rather you be happy. I would rather you be unified. That's what matters. If that's what you want, that will be your number one priority. You know, being a parent and having custody is a privilege. It's not a right. You know, we think because we have the biological connection that gives us the right to raise a child, but it doesn't. You know, that's a privilege, and it's one that has to be earned, and in order to keep it, you have to meet certain standards. You have to behave in a way that is in the best interest of the child. And failure to do so means any responsible society is going to step in and protect that child. And if you've behaved in a way that has put the child in harm's way, has failed to take the child out of harm's way, then someone should step in. And as my wife Robin always says, character is a whole lot easier to keep than it is to regain. So once you've lost that, you have a steep hill to climb to demonstrate that you have regained character, that you have regained trust, because people are going to put the child's interest first. So you just need to recognize that's going to be a challenge. So if you're in that situation, there is a formula. There are things you have to achieve to do it. But look at it this way. If there is a formula, if there's certain things, if you just do this, you get to have your child back, how good is that versus somebody saying there's nothing you can do? At least there's something you can do. Find out what it is and do it. Quit being right fighters. Do what it takes to get your child back.